Wellness Center at 37. Okay, Serene Oasis Wellness Center, isn't it? All right. Okay. Consult. Okay.
Yes,
Consult.
Here in East Legon.
In East Legon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Amazing. You're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Set.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get into our leisure conversation, but just before that, let's talk about mental health. The whole of the month of May is set aside to observe, to amplify mental health, the need for mental health awareness and all of that. Today is 31st. How have you seen the whole thing in the whole of the month of May, the awareness creation? Do you think that we've done better than last year? And I know you've been monitoring for some time.
Where I sit, I think it's gone well. We're now coming up. We're talking about mental health. Formerly, it wasn't like that.
Right.
It was like a taboo that was shrouded in secrecy and mystery. But now people are openly talking about it. People are sharing their experiences, their lived experiences. So people with conditions are coming out and talking about it. And I think this year we've done. It's not. We're not there yet. Yes.
But do you think it should be limited to just a month?
Well, it's not really limited to just a month. But so like a host of medical conditions, we have a day in a month that we celebrate or create awareness, like diabetes, hypertension. And I think mental health actually is the one that we've dedicated a whole month to. And I think it's a good start.
Okay, so the month is okay, but
we will get there.
I personally think it's something we should be talking all year round, because a lot of people are falling victims to some of these things. Their experiences on mental illness and all of that, and it's very important that we continue to talk about it. Yeah.
So the month, the discussion on mental health doesn't end in May, and so for you in the media, any day that you want to talk about mental health, I think you can.
Absolutely.
But it's as if we're just focusing on May, and then when May ends, then yes,
you don't hear about it again.
We shelve it until the next May. Yeah,
and that's a problem.
It is.
But from your experience, do you think a lot of people are actually doing well to keep their mental health in shape?
It's not. We're not there yet. Yes, but we're also not where we used to be.
Where were we?
As I said earlier, mental illness was shrouded in mystery and secrecy, and there are still myths about mental health. The stigma, where people are chained, people with some mental health conditions. Once it hits in, they send them to prayer camps. You see the conditions they live in. They are chained to trees, and people hide their relatives or their partners, loved ones who have mental health conditions. Back then, even now, some people still do because of the lack of knowledge.
Right.
But now people are also coming out and seeking help.
So that's some progress we've made.
Yes,
but
we're making progress.
How can we make it, like we were talking about a few minutes ago, how can we make it go beyond May? Are there things we have to do, inculcating them into our curriculum, something like that?
I think I should ask you that question.
No, you are an advocate. You are an advocate. That is what you are doing. So
yes.
What are you advocating for?
So we advocacy doesn't end in a day or in a month.
Absolutely.
Once you get called on whenever you have a platform, you talk about it. But it's those who give the platform. So like you, if I should ask you the whole year, how many times in your show have you dedicated to?
Well, our business line is lifestyle, leisure, and business. So we don't do politics and all of those things. So we focus on the wellness, and by lifestyle we mean wellness, and that's what we're talking about leisure today. How many platforms, how many radio platforms will you get people talking about leisure? It's something that we push into the background, right? Yeah. So we do that from time to time. In the whole of the month of May, I want to believe and say on authority that Z Multimedia, ZFM, we have actually done the health awareness than any other media house in this country.
Oh, then
Because
I give it to
every
you.
single week, even yesterday, we were talking about mental health.
Okay.
Yes, today we are doing that. Every Friday of this month, we touch on mental health, and every other conversation we have, we try to highlight something along those lines. So we've been pushing the agenda, but of course, it doesn't end with the media.
Yes.
And I think that there should be some things in our curriculum and all of that. You don't think so?
If you say curriculum.
I mean, senior high school, junior high school, something that can get people.
Yes,
really.
I think I really don't have much authority on that, but I think they have counselors in schools who educate the
But how many
students.
people even go and see these counselors? Because I was in the university back in the day, and I never met a counselor. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
And the ratio of students, even at the university level, the ratio of students to counselor is like 50 to 1, or maybe even more than 50. And that's a problem. You don't see so?
It is a problem, and I will agree with you on that. But as I said earlier, we're making progress. We're not there yet. It won't happen in a day.
Absolutely, I believe
Yes,
so.
it won't happen in a day, and it's a journey we are on. So yes, with much effort, I think we'll get there.
I am pushing you. I want you to actually speak to, I mean, because you're an advocate. There's a big platform. We reach a lot of people. We have a lot of listeners and all of that. I want you to actually speak about mental health to people that are listening. Tell them how important it is and what they need to be doing around this time, how everybody can be involved in their fight and all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm talking about mental health, I think most people, when you say mental health or mental illness, so these are two different things.
What
it sounds
what's the difference?
abstract.
What's the
So
difference?
mental health is a complete wellness of an individual,
Right.
which includes the physical and then
Absolutely.
the mental, yes, the psychological. And then illness is illness.
Okay.
And it's a spectrum. So if I'm using how I've raised my arms up, it's like from here to here.
Right.
And if this is wellness, this is illness. And you have all of us, we're lined up here like this.
Right.
If I'm making it here very practical. So the farther away you move from my left hand, the closer you are to my right, which is from wellness, you're going to illness.
Okay.
And it's not static. You can move from wellness to illness as well as move from illness to wellness.
How long does it take to move from?
So there's not a time frame.
So it means that anybody at all can.
Anybody at all.
So let me get you very well. So at this point,
Yeah.
I mean, at exactly what's the time now? 11 after 9. I could be mentally fine.
Yeah?
And then in the next few minutes, I could switch to mental illness.
You're going. So you're moving on the spectrum.
What causes that?
How you're managing your stress levels. There are biological dispositions for some conditions.
Right.
Even when you take diabetes, we're looking at biological disposition. So it could be genetic. There's also type 1 diabetes. That's genetic. And then the type 2, which the genetic disposition could be there, but then also lifestyle influences it.
Okay. Can you break each of them down?
So if I'm bringing it in mental health. We have genetic dispositions as well for some conditions. So when you go to the hospital, you realize that you're usually asked, is there someone in your family who has experienced, if we're taking diabetes, these are relatable diseases. So diabetes or hypertension, they're looking for history. So trying to trace your genetic line to see how they can connect. Okay, so if someone in your family has experienced this, it means that you are susceptible, right? However, lifestyle determines the onset.
Okay.
So someone's father may have had high blood pressure or diabetes, and how they take care of themselves, they may never have a condition.
Okay.
Even though the genetic disposition is there.
Is there.
It's the same as mental health conditions. So someone's father, great auntie, or someone had schizophrenia or bipolar. It's there.
Right.
It's in the genes. The likelihood that you can have any of these conditions are there. However, how you take care of yourself plays a major factor. So how do you manage your stress levels?
Right.
And it's your inability to cope with the daily stresses that move you from my left hand, which is wellness, to illness.
I see. So what are some of the things that we have to do or we shouldn't do to, things that let's take it one after the other. So things that we don't have to do to, we don't have to do so that we don't end up in mental illness. What are some of the things we don't have to do? Then we come to what we have to do.
Yeah, so basically what we have to do is healthy coping mechanisms.
What are
A
they?
colleague of mine used an analogy the other day, and it was so relatable. I appreciated it. She said the human body is like a Veronica bucket. I'm sure with COVID, we are very familiar with Veronica buckets.
Yeah, absolutely.
You pour the water in. There is an outlet, the tap down there.
Yeah.
But it's always closed, right? And you get the water to come in. When it gets full and you're adding water, it overflows. However, if you want to drain the water, if you don't want it overflowing, you open the outlet.
Absolutely.
So as it's coming in, the water is also going out. We cannot avoid stress. It's part of being a human being and living in this world. Some of the basic stresses we face could be traffic jam. It can mess with someone. Someone may also see it as an opportunity to wind down and chill or relax, put on some music and slow down whilst they wait in traffic to get to work.
Yeah.
Someone also may get so worked up in their car and be honking and hurling insults at people in traffic, So these things cannot be prevented. But how do you interpret it and how do you cope with them? So unhealthy coping mechanisms, and then not being able to open the tap for the, let it drain. So your body is kept in a stable state.
All right. So by opening the tap, what do you mean?
As a healthy coping mechanisms, because we cannot prevent these things, these stresses, they can't be prevented. So how do you cope?
I want to believe leisure is one of the examples of opening the tap. Well, then today we're going to open the tap. We're going to tell people how to open the tap.
Open the tap.
Right, but what other ones are there apart from leisure?
I think it all centers on leisure. However, as I said, our interpretations of situations and events are what causes us stress. So stress is not the event.
Stress is not the event.
No.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, traffic jam is an event.
Right.
However, traffic jam is not stress.
Okay.
It's your interpretation of traffic jam.
Whilst
you are getting late for work.
If you go this thing is delaying me, and all of that. That is
how then the stress gets set in.
Okay.
Someone might interpret it, as I said earlier, as, okay, this is downtime for me. Let me chill. Put on some good music and,
I see a connection with that. I mean, when it comes to the Bible, sometimes there are things in the Bible that actually makes you see life differently. A typical one is Romans 8, is it 26 or 28? Which says that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So if you're sitting behind, you're in the traffic, you could actually be looking at it as something positive. And that could help you manage your stress. That is also you opening the tap.
Exactly. So your interpretation, basically, your interpretation of events in life is what causes stress and not the event.
Interesting. I like that. So how we see things, if you're listening to us, we're saying that how we see the things determines how it affects us,
Exactly.
essentially, isn't
Yeah.
it? All right. So, well, exactly 18 minutes after 9, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM. And this morning, I'm joined by Rachel Marty. She's a mental health advocate. She's with the Serene Oasis Wellness Consult. And she's helping us. We're going to talk about leisure very, very soon. But we just started on a good note, talking about mental health. Today is the last day in the month of May, which is often referred to as the Mental Health Awareness Month. And of course, it shouldn't end a conversation on mental health, but it should actually even push it further. And that's why we're having this particular conversation. If you want to join the conversation, you have something you want to ask my guest in studio, you can text me on 0544321019, 0544321019, 0544321019, or you can call me on 030395661, and I'll give you the opportunity to speak to us. 030395661. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can go there, share with a friend, because this is a very important conversation everybody needs to hear. And when we all win together, it's better. So share with somebody. We're also on YouTube, on Instagram and X at ZFMGH. Do well to engage our posts. We'll do well to read your comments as well. Okay, let me come back to you now. We're still on mental health. Let's try and establish some few things, and then we can talk about leisure briefly. Then we are out of here. So mental health. You talk about leisure as one of the things, and you said that how we interpret the things is actually what affects us. Now, what should somebody do if they're already experiencing some some mental illness? Really, what should they do if they're experiencing that?
How do you know you're experiencing?
First of all, exactly. I was going to ask that first. That how do you know that you are not letting the tap flow?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, when basic stress, when you're burnt out.
Okay.
Right.
Well, we're going to talk about burnout, but since you mentioned it, tell us what exactly is burnout.
So, it's simply a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. From stress, prolonged stress, and work demands. That's
what it means. Can you give it an example?
So, an example, like you. If you're working on the clock, your work involves talking. You have the cognitive aspect also at play. So everything, you're in it. And you're not taking breaks.
Right.
You're not sleeping well. And you're on the clock. You're just on the go. It gets to a point you feel tired.
Right.
That's the body telling you that you need
rest.
But you're not resting because probably you're telling yourself, I have a target to meet. So until I meet that target, I'm not taking any break. So you're not taking breaks. There's no rest in there and all that. And you're still moving. At a point, you start experiencing headaches.
That's true.
Yeah? That's the body signaling to you that the bucket is getting full.
Okay.
Or it's full and it's beginning to
run over.
So open the outlet. However, you are still moving. Your eyes are on the target, which is the target you have to meet, your goal. Then you might have back pains, muscle tension. As you are sitting in your seat, you realize you are stretching too much. Your neck, you have pains in your neck, your shoulder, and your back. This is the body also telling you that things are not going well.
Okay.
Then you might start developing irregular eating habits. It's either you are binge eating, or we have something called stress eating. So the stress eating where you have people, we've termed it nicely, and they just will eat junk food.
Stress eating.
Yes.
So when somebody's interested in, they have appetite for junk food, it could be that they are mentally ill.
Well, not mentally ill. You're not there yet, but you're moving away gradually from wellness, where you're not handling your stress. The outlet is not opened.
I see.
The outlet is still closed,
Right.
and you're dumping in. So you're moving on extra. You're still going. You're not taking breaks. Remember, you're not taking breaks. You're not resting, and no leisure for you. It's just your target, which is the goal. Then you're experiencing all these symptoms. Then irritability might start setting in.
Okay.
You're easily upset, and you might have outbursts on your colleagues or family members or friends. You're having a casual discussion, and which is not usual of you. So now you're experiencing things that were not part of you, and you're doing things that were not also part of you. So these outbursts, and then your colleagues might look at you like, today, as a, So these things are signals.
Right.
Then the mental exhaustion comes in. You can't focus on your work. Now you can deliver something that might take you 30 minutes, that would used to take you about 30 minutes to figure out. Now it's still about 2 hours, and you still can't seem to figure it out. And you're getting more exhausted. So you're keeping the cycle going.
Right. So okay. So what should the people do? Maybe somebody's listening to us. Just briefly. What should they do?
Take breaks. Rest.
Okay.
Leisure, as you said.
Yeah, leisure. Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about leisure so that we can get into we can get people to understand exactly what we are trying to say, because leisure is a very important part of us. Many of us don't take time off to. You guys are going to share with us what your leisure patterns are like maybe later. Yes, but we've been joined by Justice Ajay Oklu, my big brother. He is a psychologist, and he's also a mental health advocate, just like Rachel Marty. And these are the two people that we're going to have this important conversation with. Justice, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good morning to Madam
Rachel.
I have heard a lot about her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she's like a senior.
I see.
Yeah.
Where did you hear of
I have some colleagues that she quote unquote mentored and supervised.
Oh, okay.
So they tell me a lot of good things.
She's not the one on the flyer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
she's
then I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Representing the woman. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is Anita.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Is she your mentor?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
So you got the right information.
All right, then good morning to your viewers, and good morning to those in the corporate world, and then good morning to my mentors in the field of psychology.
Right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Gentleman and lady, we're having a very important conversation. We're going to talk about leisure. First of all, let's start from why do a lot of people feel guilty when they rest? Because I know that a lot of people think that actually they sometimes interpret it as laziness and all of that. Why is that so? Justice, tell me.
Okay. So I think sometimes let's get into some of the misconceptions of leisure.
Okay.
People think that leisure is not doing anything. It means that you're actually having your leisure period. I want to believe Lady Anita went into it. So I want to go. Lady Rachel went into it. So I want to go deep into it. So, like I said earlier, people think leisure means doing nothing, which is actually a misconception or a myth. Leisure simply means taking time off certain main activities that require a lot of energy, mental energy, physical energy, and then choosing to put yourself in a very rest or relaxed mode to be able to recover any energy that has been lost due to these activities that you find yourself in. So, for example, being a radio presenter or a person in the media space, one thing that captures majority of your strength is your work.
That's true.
So taking time off your workplace and then going to a recreational facility, that's leisure. Taking time off your workplace, going to the house and then doing nothing in reference to your digital space or the social media space is leisure. So once we create that perception that leisure doesn't mean doing nothing, but creating time off the activities that requires a lot of energy, being it physical or being it physical or mental. The other myth is that once you have leisure time, it means it's your lazy time period. No. like we build it on the first point, we are only making time of the activities that require a lot of strength.
Okay.
So once you are creating that time, it doesn't mean that you are being lazy. It doesn't mean that you are just lazing around. You don't really have anything that you're doing.
Right.
Okay, so that's one of the, myth we want to create. We want to disbank or,
debunk. Yeah.
Debunk. That's the word. So,
okay.
Yes.
So those are some of the reasons.
Yes.
Yeah. Are there any you want to add to Rachel?
I think one misconception, he said yes, is that we think that rest must be a reward. Right.
People think that after I've worked and worked, then they reward me with rest.
Yes.
But it's not that.
Interesting.
It's not.
Explain.
Rest is not a reward. It's a requirement. Just being a human being means that it's part of our biological makeup that you need rest. Those who believe in the creation story, even God Almighty rested. And it wasn't out for reward for work he has done, but it was a requirement that take a break. The body needs to rejuvenate. It's in a state of rest that the body, you realize that we grow. Your skin changes. Every part of your body changes. So if the rejuvenating has to happen, what time must it happen? It's in a state of rest.
Rest, I see.
So it's not just being a human being. No. Just for being a human being, you need rest.
I see. That's why we sleep.
It shouldn't be for reward for work done.
Okay. And that's why we sleep.
That's why we sleep. And biologically, sleep comes. Whether you've done something or you've not, nighttime will fall and you have to sleep.
I remember back in the day when we were going to write exam, sometimes put your leg in water, take some coffee and all that. Charlie, you don't want to sleep. Charlie, sometimes you just go off like that because the body actually needs rest. But I'm going to come to you, Justice, on the leisure thing. We'll talk about that briefly. But how do we reconcile the fact that we have to finish everything before we rest? Like you talk about God. If he rested on the last day, does it mean we have to finish our work before we take some rest, or we take some time to have a leisure?
Well, if you are talking about God, creation didn't end on the 6th day.
Tell me.
Amazing.
Tell me.
He's still creating.
Yeah, that's true.
It didn't end on the 6th day.
Okay.
So you don't have to do everything. We have this conception that the busier I am, the more productive I am being. But activity doesn't mean productivity.
You're giving us a lot of quotes.
Well,
bars,
bars.
So it's not that, I have to take a rest if I have done 10 hours. No.
So that means you can take intermittent rest. If indeed God is still creating, then, because I know there are people that might not believe what
that's
you
true,
just said.
Of course.
Yeah. And because this is, I don't know whether are you a pastor?
Oh no,
you are not.
Far
so
from that.
I wouldn't want to go. I know. Justice is a man of God.
Hey, really? I'm a Catholic.
Anyway, we won't talk about it so much. We won't dwell so much on that.
Yeah.
But it is important for us to take intermittent rest, right? So let's say you work for some few minutes, then you take some time to relax, and then you recharge and come back, isn't it? Okay. Now I'm coming to you, Justice. When you talked about leisure, you said taking time to actually do something off the regular work that you do, or the main work that you do. Now, how is that different from distraction? Because there are people that after some time, when they work for a while, they pick their phones and then they are scrolling on social media. How is that different? How is leisure different from distraction?
Okay. So she spoke about rejuvenation. There's also an aspect of it where we come to understand that it's not just about doing a lot of activities during your leisure time. It's about upgrading, the things you do to rest. In other words, you are upgrading the quality of your rest, or the quality of your relaxation times. I don't get what I'm saying.
Explain.
Good. So earlier I established the fact that leisure periods or leisure times is taking time off the activities that require your energy, that require either mental or physical. And I cited an example that you as a media person, your workplace is ZFM.
Yeah.
Once you step out from ZFM to a recreational place, or to the house, or to any place to just go sit down and relax, you're not doing anything in relation to your work.
To my work.
So that becomes what? A leisure.
Okay.
Even going to church can even be a leisure period.
Right.
Do you understand? And I made us understand that it's not just about taking time off, but doing certain things that will set you in a rest or in a relaxed mode.
Okay.
So then, leisure is an opportunity for you to upgrade the quality of your rest.
Okay.
From these activities that require a lot of your energy.
Okay.
Now, back to the myth we are talking about. Exactly. We're talking about distraction. People think that once my body is tired and it needs rest, it means I'm a failure. You cited an example when we're in school, we have to put our legs in water to be able to keep us awake. People think that once you sleep, you become a failure, and which actually isn't the problem. You're speaking about distraction.
Yeah, how leisure is different from distraction.
Good. It's what you do in your leisure periods that determine the quality of the rest you acquire from leisure.
Okay.
The goal, one of the main goals of leisure is that we want to attain rest. We want to recover the energy that we have lost.
Okay.
Do you get it? However, what you do there requires... Now, so it differs from individual to individuals. Because your workload is different from my workload, and moreover, because your personality is different from my personality. For example, if the person is a phlegmatic and a sanguine, the person who is mostly distracted is the sanguine.
Yeah.
Because he's all over the place. A phlegmatic is much more reserved. So he can maximize his or her time during their leisure periods. Okay. So we are saying that once you have created a space to have leisure, you have to do away with certain things, which will subsequently get into. See, whatever you give direction, whatever gives you direction, whatever you give attention to gives you direction, and that becomes a distraction. So once we are able to understand the purpose and the benefit with which we need leisure periods, it becomes very easier for us to do away with distractions.
I see. You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so the distractions happen most of the time when you're not resting well. For some people, it just happens, and these things, especially with social media, with our phones, we easily get distracted.
Yeah,
that's why we need boundaries.
Okay.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, so distractions are not necessarily leisure.
Okay.
These are actually hindering your productivity. So
how do I know that I am actually in leisure and I am not being distracted? How do I know?
When you're in a state of rest.
Explain.
Rest. Just that sometimes it's just about sitting doing nothing.
So I want us to tackle this particular one very well, because a lot of people think that, I'm not working, but so I'm taking leisure. I want us to understand whether that is what it is, or once I'm away from work and I'm on my phone, I've been distracted. So let's say I'm working right now, I'm on air talking, and then all of a sudden I pick my phone and I'm quickly swiping, scrolling or doing, I don't know how they call that thing, scrolling through some feeds on social media, watching TikTok videos and all of that. Isn't that also leisure?
Well, screen time is also work, because you're still, your brain is still working, even when you're doing screen time.
So leisure.
So we have different types of rest. We have physical rest,
okay,
where you're just inactive, doing nothing,
right,
so that the body will rest. There is also, if you want to do cognitive rest, where cognitive is a brain, engaging the brain, the mind.
Right.
So you take a breath from all cognitive activities. So you're just resting, no cognitive work. You are not thinking about, there's no productive cognitive work. You're just resting. So your phone, this at this point, your phone is away, because if you're engaging your phone, the brain is still working, is active. So putting the mind in a state of rest could be just, in maybe you're doing a deep breathing exercise to calm your mind where you're not thinking.
Okay.
You can have some soothing music going on to rest. The mind.
I see. So is that why sometimes when you swipe or you stay long on your phone, then you feel tired? Sometimes you're just tired. You just want to drop the phone, and then is that why
the biological basis to that? You remember when we spoke about digital detox? We spoke about the fact that your screen emits blue light.
Yeah.
And the blue light reduces melatonin. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because your eye is connected to your brain. So you're mounting a lot of pressure on melatonin. And melatonin has it backing from dopamine. And so because melatonin is responsible for your mood balances, and it's even important to your quality of sleep. Because you are always, when you're supposed to be resting, she spoke about emotional rest, physical rest when you are inactive physically.
Right.
And I've taken time off, the media space. I've taken time off work. I go on my bed. Social media way there. Then you be scrolling. Already you are draining yourself emotionally.
Okay.
Because there are things on the social media space that stirs you up. Do you understand? Right. Things of interest, either football or maybe something that happened in the media space, and you really want to follow suit, or you are waiting for a certain result from the social media space. It creates anxiety. So at the end of the day, the time that you said, I wanted to take time off to rest, you've drained yourself, and at the end of the day, you put yourself to sleep and realize the quality of your sleep is so low.
I see. And that is leading to burnout.
Good.
I see. Now let's talk about burnout. That's a nice way to introduce burnout into the conversation. Yeah. But let's talk about that. You try to help us define it, but tell us also, Justice, what is burnout?
Okay,
and
so
why do a lot of professionals experience that?
Okay. Last time we spoke about habits, and I told you how habits are consistency of behaviors or actions over a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And how I spoke about, if you don't mind your thoughts, it translates into your words, actions, actions to character, character to attitudes, and attitude becomes very difficult for you to do away with it. Now there is a woman called Christina Maslach. let me get the name very right. Yes, Christina Maslach. She speaks about burnout. Okay. Now she and her colleagues were on a journey of research to find out the impact of work stress. Long-term stress is what we call chronic stress. Okay. They were looking out for its impact, and they came out with three things, components of these burnouts. Right. One of the burnouts they spoke about was emotional exhaustion. We don't want to go there that much because she's spoken about it. You get emotionally drained to the extent that you begin to develop irritability. Things that excite you don't excite you no more.
Yeah.
Then she spoke about dispersonalization, which we call cynicism. You are tied in your own interest, when it comes to certain matters. Now, we don't want to go deep because of we had press of time.
Yeah.
Then the third one has to do with
but it's fine.
Reduce personal accomplishment.
Okay.
So you have a certain energy towards a certain activity during work. Then because you are burnout, or because you have burnout, or the key signs to burnout is that you are not able to easily do the things that you used to do easily. You are not able to effectively do the things that you used to do effectively. Right. Then it's a sign of burnout. Okay. So when you have a lot of things on your brain overload or cognitive overload, when you have a lot of things, you are so overwhelmed, it's a sign that you are under burnout and that you need to take time off.
I see.
Yeah.
But why are high performing professionals so vulnerable to that, even when they love what they do? Rachel.
Yeah, so you said high performing. Right. And there are people we call high achievers.
Yeah. And
for them, it's go, go, go. It's the goal. So their target is a goal.
Right.
And they achieve one goal, meet one target. The next target it has to blow. So for them, they are not okay with being average. So go up, go up, go up, go up,
Right.
go up. And the likelihood that you're going to neglect yourself if you're a high achiever or high performing employer or an employee is very high. That it's the goal.
You always want to meet targets and all of that.
Meet the target. Go after the target. And the motivation they get is once you achieve one, you are excited. It means you can do more. And so you're just on the go. You're just on the go. So that is the risk that these people have of developing burnout. And for them, the myths are also very entrenched.
Right.
That you take rest, you're darling. No rest.
Okay.
No rest, no gain. I mean, there are slangs.
And sleep is for the weak.
Sleep is exactly. So, these sayings or myths are very entrenched that, yes, there's more sleep after death.
Yeah.
So do it while you are here. Now.
But the Bible says a little sleep, a little slumber.
You see, it's good. It's good the Bible said a little. So the little is a bit
Anyway, okay. I think the point is made. It's because we are chasing the what's the word? We want
dream.
to just the dream, exactly, and some other things, right? What are some small habits or daily habits we could actually incorporate into our schedules, to be able to have some leisure? Yes, especially for those who say they don't have time. What are some of the things that we can do quickly?
Taking intentionally. As you said, they don't have time.
Yeah.
It's a mindset. Time no day. So as time no day, then you have to be intentional.
Okay.
Prioritize your health, your mental health. Because if you're broken down, well, especially if you're an employee and this morning, you're supposed to come in and you had to be rushed to the hospital, someone will step in for you.
Absolutely.
The work will go on. And you're not Christ. You didn't come to save the world.
Okay.
So be intentional about creating boundaries.
Right.
Boundaries with work hours and workspace. In that, I'm not picking work calls after a certain time in the day. Maybe 9 p.m. I'm not picking work calls. I'm not picking work calls before 5 a.m. every morning. So these boundaries, they help set the tone for you and they guard your space.
Okay.
Because there are times you've gone home, everything is good. 9 p.m. and you've been called from work and it's some stress, which you can't even do anything about. In the night, you need to come in the morning to work on it. You're not going to resuscitate anybody's life.
Okay.
So you must be intentional about setting boundaries and then taking breaks in between. Taking breaks. I'm sure your work, if you are sitting, I don't think you sit for 4 hours continuous, but if you're sitting for 4 hours.
I sit for 4 hours continuous every day.
You have music breaks.
Morning. Yeah, I have music breaks.
Good.
I get
Why
to stretch
do you
my
have
leg.
the music breaks? Because you think that your listeners might get tired of listening.
That's true.
And you also get tired.
Absolutely.
So while the music break is going on, maybe 3 minutes music break, you can get up and walk around.
Oh yeah, I do that sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So taking intentional breaks, setting boundaries, work boundaries, and all that. Eating healthy, diet.
That's something you can build into your leisure.
Of course.
I see.
It has its own benefits.
Okay.
Because as you might come in rush hour and you grab coffee. So you come sit. And then it's just coffee after coffee, after coffee, cup after cup. The day ends and you're taking a stock and today I didn't eat. You just pumped your system with coffee. An excessive caffeine intake it also doesn't help.
It's true.
Okay.
So healthy diet, you incorporate vegetables, fruits into your meals, and you cut down on junk food.
Okay.
Junk food, I don't know how to explain junk food, but we're Ghanaians.
They should see the dietitians.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We have nutritious foods in Ghana.
It's true.
Okay. All right. What she's spoken about boundaries and a few other things. Yeah. Let's also talk. I mean, do you have any other ones you want
I
to?
also want to add
daily
digital
leisure
detox.
habits.
Digital detox.
Okay, taking time off your screens.
Yes, your screen, electronic devices, social media space, so that you can refresh. You can get refreshed.
You just move away from it, and what are you
drop
doing?
it aside. Now, we are not saying that, drop it aside for the whole day when you're going for rest. But let's say the first 30 minutes to a main activity, take time off this social media space. Like we said last week, when you wake up from bed, don't wake up from bed immediately and then go rush to your phones. No. Wake up from bed, just stay relaxed. I know there might be a lot of distractions from mind, but stay relaxed, okay? Because it helps you focus. It helps you gain the strength you need. Quickly, relaxation techniques, all right? Psychologists have something called PMR, progressive muscle relaxation. Once you see them, they'll be able to teach you very well, okay? So it's noticing the difference between the tension of certain muscles of your body and then releasing it to experience that relaxation that you need. Okay. Then we also have breathing exercise. She spoke about it.
Yeah.
There are different types of breathing. All right. So you can go online and search for it. So deep breathing, which is the normal one, you take in a deep breath, hold it for about 3 to 5 seconds, then you release it. So you go, I'm having cold, so if I breathe, can you know? Yeah. Then we have something we also call, so people who are into yoga practices, they exercise and all those things, which is a very important part in, creating the quality of rest that you get from your leisure time. Then there is something so very important. It's called grounding techniques. Now, there are different types of grounding techniques, okay, when it comes to creating leisure.
Right.
One of the key ones is that if I've taken time off my workspace, when I sit down, let me just relax, or when I stand, I should just stand quiet in a very calm way. Picture 5 things that you can see. Out of the 5 things that you can see, picture 4 things that you can touch. Out of the 4 things that you can touch, picture 3 things that you can, smell. Out of the 3 things that you can smell, picture 2 things that you can eat. Then go in for it. By the time you begin from focusing on the 5 things till where you get to when you are eating, you'll be in a relaxed mode.
Wow.
Yes, it's a very, very good technique.
You call it what?
We call that grounding techniques. There are different types, but this one is one of the easiest way to do. So you are stressed out, you're overwhelmed. Take time off your workspace. Sit down very quiet in your environment or stand. As you are in a relaxed mode, picture 5 things that you see in your environment. Out of the 5 things you see in your environment, get 4 things that you can touch. Out of the 4 things that you can touch, get 3 things that you can smell. Out of the 3 things that you can smell, get 2 things that you can eat. So you see, you're working with the sense of the 5 senses: the sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of touch. Now, you can do that interchangeably.
Right.
All right. But by the time you get to the one thing, it helps you increase your focus. It helps you, get drained of this emotional exhaustion that you have.
Right.
All right. So I think that could also be it. Digital detox. Mindfulness.
Okay.
Mindfulness is very important. She spoke about nutrition. Sometimes people will be eating and they're on their phones. They can be eating and they're thinking about a lot of things. The benefits, the psychological benefits of the food, it will not be seen at the end of the day. Have you not noticed when you are very depressed or you are very anxious, you don't enjoy the food? The food, quote unquote, becomes bitter in your mouth, even if it's sweet. Okay, so mindfulness eating. As you are eating, put your phone aside. Concentrate on the texture of the food, the smell of the food, the taste of the food. That helps you build, self-attention. Rather than thinking about other things. You spoke about high performance and whatever, thing you're talking about. Yes, it's good for you to be good at your work. But understand that without you, you cannot be effective. And that is why it is important for us to prime our leisure periods.
Right.
Mindfulness walking. When you wake up from your bed, and you are walking to the bathroom, pay attention to your footsteps. Or when you are climbing the stairs, pay attention to your footsteps. It helps you do away with the anxious thoughts you're having about whatever things you're doing. Then mindfulness breathing, we've spoken about it, okay? But the most important thing about this mindfulness exercise is that it helps you pay close attention to yourself. Then we also have journaling. Last time we spoke about gratitude journaling.
Yeah.
In the midst of all the problems and in the midst of all the issues you are faced with, what are you grateful for?
Okay.
I told us how the mind has a way of highlighting on the negatives. That's the human nature. However, if there is a problem that happens to my body, it is just one aspect of my body, not all the aspect of my body. If I lose a purse, it doesn't mean I've lost my treasury. It doesn't mean I've lost everything in my life.
Okay.
Even if I lose a relationship, it doesn't mean my life has come to an end. Do you get it? So it's very important that we pay close attention to these things.
I see. Okay. So if I come to you right now, Rachel, somebody comes to you and says that they are tired and they don't know how to rest. They don't know what would be your first thing to them? Where do you start with them from?
So tired, can you define tired?
It's the same definition.
Oh no, it's not the same.
That's not the first time you're hearing tired.
No. It's not the same.
As
You remember in our last tutorial, I told you how psychologists see things. 4 spectrums. I think she said that from the beginning of the interview. So once you say tired, we don't know what you are talking about. You have to tell us what you mean. Or maybe you want to say tired from the field, from the lens of a psychologist seeing a client or seeing a patient. I am tired. I don't know what's wrong with me. Help me create. Then they can be able to tell us something.
That's what I mean.
That kind of tired where they
feel overwhelmed.
They feel
overwhelmed. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so if you're feeling overwhelmed, then we're going to go through over exactly what is overwhelming you.
Okay.
Maybe it is work.
Yeah.
Work demands. When was the last time you took a break from work? How often do you rest?
Okay.
We're looking at the work environment. Is it toxic?
All right.
How are you coping? What boundaries do you have? So that people's toxicity, you can be a garbage can for people. So these are things we're going to be working on. So it's not going to be one thing.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of things we're going to work on to help you not feel tired. If you haven't gone on a leave, taking break from work in a while, sometimes just stepping out, as he said, stepping out of the workspace, it helps the brain to rejuvenate, and then you come back. So if you are tired, it depends on the kind of tiredness and where the tiredness is coming from.
Okay. All right. So I think we've made the points, but I hear walking is also very, very powerful.
Yes.
Would you want to say something about that?
You know, I spoke about mindfulness.
Yes.
Walking.
Yes.
When you go out, you don't just walk. Don't just walk. Do you understand? Pay attention to every step you take.
Okay.
It helps you. It helps with the psychological benefits. Of course, the brain, the heart. The heart also plays a key role. So as you walk, it improves your heartbeat. And your heart supplies enough blood to your brain, which helps in your mental health. Okay? So as you walk, yes, it helps.
Okay. All right. So today is May 30th. Tomorrow we're not coming. We don't have business breakfast on Z. We're closing the month of May.
Amazing.
The
mental
health awareness month. What would be your message to anybody that is listening to us? And you could speak to anybody at all. A chunk of our listeners are business people, high professionals and all of that because of the kind of contents that we put out there. So you want to speak to everybody holistically, or you can pinpoint, maybe there's a role government has to play. There's something, just speak to anybody. There's a big platform. So please leverage that. I'll start with you, Rachel.
So if you are listening to us this morning, what I would like to tell you is there is help available. Talk to someone. When you feel overwhelmed and the pressures of life, the stresses are weighing you down, find someone to talk to. Someone, not just anyone. you might as well, for some people, you might as well walk in the radio station, get their microphone and announce yourself to the world that this is what I'm going through. But there are professionals and there is help. Mental health is not only about the people walking on the streets who look dirty and with the unkempt hair and all that. Mental illness is not about that. It's not all about bipolar. There is a lot that goes into it, and all of us are at risk of developing mental health issues. So please seek help.
All right. Rachel says you should seek help because help is available. Justice, what do you have to say?
A healthy mind lives in a healthy body. Everybody goes through something, one thing or the other. We are all faced with all kinds of challenges, okay? And these challenges are not just physical. There is the mental basis to some of these challenges that we face. Like I told us, Aaron Beck says, events of life don't make us unhappy, stressed out, or anxious. It is events in themselves, events of life in themselves don't make us stressed out, unhappy, or anxious. It is rather the mindset that we carry about these events.
Interpretation.
Exactly, the interpretation, that's the word we carry about these events that will determine the state of our mental health, our mindset, or our emotions, okay? So once you realize there is a problem, accept it quickly, all right? And don't shy away from the psychologists, don't shy away from the mental health unit, the psychology unit, the psychiatry unit, whatever it is. Understand that you have a problem and there is solution calling, you know, to help you come out of this problem. You might be a professional, you might be in a corporate office. You say, oh, I feel that if I go and share my problem, they will share it with other people. No. They are bound by a code of ethics. And that code of ethics says confidentiality. If you hear that your matter that you shared with a psychologist moved out there, he can be implicated. And in fact, he can even be in prison, depending on the severity of the case. Okay? So psychologists are your friend. Counselors are your friends. You know, people in the media spaces that talk about mental health issues are your friend. It's okay for you to ask questions, okay? And in the midst of asking questions, maybe you might have some of your problems solved. All these things that we shared might not be enough to solve your problems. And that is why, you know, Lady Rachel said that you should reach out to the mental health professionals to seek for professional help. And everything is going to be fine. So, yeah.
Everything's going to be fine. Well, thank you very much, Justice and Rachel. Thank you very much for coming. It's been a great conversation. I want to believe that you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I learned a lot.
I see. Very interesting. Thank you very much for coming. Well, so we just spoke to Justice Ajay Oklu and also Rachel Mate. And Rachel Mate is a mental health advocate. She's with the Serene Oasis Wellness Consult. And also Justice Ajay Oklu is a psychologist and a mental health advocate as well. And these two individuals helped us have this important conversation today. Please, this is my special message to you. As we wrap up the Mental Health Awareness Month, I believe strongly that it doesn't have to end here. There's a lot that you have to do. Take your mental health very seriously. Here at Z, we want to see you do well, whether in your business, at your work, with your family. Every single thing that you do, we really want to see you do well. And that is why we've been having these conversations back to back all throughout the month of May. It doesn't mean we're not going to come back to it again. We're going to still talk about mental health because it's very, very important. The number of mentally challenged people that I see on the streets on a daily basis. I really wish we could talk about that. There was a time I decided to count, and on my stretch, I was moving from Kolibu to one other junction, and I decided to count the mad people on I could see. Sorry, they said we shouldn't call them mad. Mentally challenged people. And just within a short distance, I could count 3 different people who are sitting down by the street. dirty, and you could see that some of them are eating all kinds of things. And I'm like, God have mercy. I'm not saying you're going to get there, but if you're able to take care of your health around this time, you will avoid getting to that stage. It's very, very important. So please take your mental health seriously. The month of May has ended, and it's ending tomorrow, but we're not wrapping up on mental health awareness. We'll continue to talk about it because it's very, very important. Well, this has been Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nichwebi Hammond. We are back again on Monday. Very, very important conversations that will help your business thrive and that will help you reach your goals. So keep it logged here. Up next is The Brighter Side with NYA, the brand. And she's bringing you something good.